Right, after yesterday's attempts to move stuff in, I've now got to start thinking about where I'm actually going to put things. So I've got most of the big bits in, got the bandsaw, table saw, workbench, and then I've just started carting over all the other stuff. What I now need to do is work out how I'm going to mount things onto the wall. There's a few options there. One is to just do an infill panel with stud work, or even batten, a little bit lighter weight, but I don't think I need to do that. Yeah. So go behind your side, just even like halfway between the electrics and the top beam. So down a bit. Got it? Yeah. I've now cut them into 3 boards high. These are just old C grade structural plywood. V-Groove's cutting them, but they're kind of cool. They kind of just look like 3 boards. And I've cut this and this, so they're gonna basically run as a band all the way around. So they need to move up. They're not gonna be sat down on the dado. That'll just give me somewhere to mount lightweight tools to, you know, like hand tools. And I'm hoping that by setting it down about 6 inches from the top here, still get that light coming through. And kind of look like a feature, like a nice band of wood going along. So in this corner behind the door, we've got this old little bookshelf I made when I was in year 3 in carpentry club. So it needs a little bit of nip and tuck, let's say, to kind of get it over and in. But it just happens that it fits in nicely between those 2 posts. So it's going to have all the chargers on and other smaller items and spare batteries. Well, that took a lot longer than I thought. I'm not even scratching the surface of what I've got to sort out. But let me give you a quick walk around. It's not a tour, it's just a progress report. So what I've done is installed our wall type backer board all the way around. So let's have a quick look. You can see I've got that 3 strips of plywood, or V-Groove plywood, all the way along, round there, and that section there. And I've done it so I've got an even space below and above, and I've still got that little accent lighting above. So for now, I'm happy to just fire screws in and out wherever and switch things around. But for now, a few bits of routing and saw blades and stuff up that end. And then over here, my magnet strips I've always used. They're a pretty good way to go. I do keep those saws on there, and that's probably not ideal, but they're only touching the bottom teeth, and as long as you put them on flat, it's not the end of the world. So that's what I've got going on there, just files and rasps and saws. Over here is where I'm going to put all the clamps. For the time being, I've just put some dowels onto a section of timber and screwed that on. I've got a load of these just normal spring clamps. When I find them all, that's where they're going to go. Now I need to work out the rest of the clamps, and they're all just piled up here. Everything from cheapy speed clamps, pocket hole sort of Craig style auto clamps. Then I've got all the Bessie uni clamps, so they need to slot in somewhere. And then underneath all of that are all the big heavy duty G clamp, C clamp, G clamps, and a few other long ones. So I think all the heavy stuff, I'm going to put another board down here. This workbench, this table won't be here, so I'm going to hang all of the clamps there. There's a few more I can fit up here, but most of them I need to stand away just so they clear the sockets. There's the old bracket that I had in the other place. I might make another one of those, but like I said, I need to just bring it out a bit so it clears our dado. Then the workbench I'm just using for kind of temporary storage of smaller offcuts, hardwood, stuff like that down there. This is going to be a whole new project. We'll build another workbench, I think, and I'll sort out what I'm going to do. I'm also going to tint this window to balance the exposure between these lights and natural daylight outside, and for a bit of security. But I think that'll be nice, so we'll get blue skies outside whilst correctly being exposed inside. And then up top I've got all the hand planes, just about in reach and easy enough to put up there. I've got some rubber EPDM that I'm just going to put on top of the beam there to protect the planes, but also just to make sure that our Douglas fir doesn't react with the metal. And then this is the only bit which is remotely organised and complete. Ignoring temporary storage down here, this section is just all measuring meters and scribing and stuff like that. So everything from rulers to squares, bevels, metal detector here for when I'm using old wood. That's a more of a fine metal detector. Compass for scribing, distance meter, angle, Dewberry Whatsit for table saw, laser level, digital, calipers, squares, marking gauges, dovetail jig, and moisture meter, and a voltage meter. So if it needs measuring or detecting, that's the corner I'm going to go to. Then that leads me to the unknown, which is this side of the room. It's going to be a bank of workbenches or cabinets I'm going to make, mainly drawers, some shelves. Don't really want to do cupboards because stuff will just get at the back of them and never be seen again. I'm going to go for a 600 thereabouts, which is this ply here is just a sheet of 18mm ripped in two and glued together. I might go that route, and I'm going to set it back in so it's back at the wall. Now the reason I can go a little bit shorter or shallower than previously is just the way that this saw articulates. So you can see it there, doesn't have the bars out the back, those rails. So that is the main reason, actually, well, one of the main reasons I went for this saw. And we'll recess it down into a well so the table either side is at the right height for the bed of the saw. And then I need to somehow work out where I'm going to put my air filter. I can't hang it from the ceiling in here because it ain't tall enough, so might have to go on its side. I'll have a chat with Record Power, see if there are any no-nos on that, but either way it's gonna have to go somewhere. And then finally, the old table saw is over here, the old trusty Erbauer dust maker. I'm hoping to replace it at some point, but for the time being it's going to just live somewhere in here. Timber storage, my end goal is to make a little shed, a medium-sized shed. So we've got the Big Daddy shed, which is, I guess, this workshop. Down there is the shed I built last summer. In there, what I'm trying to do is relocate DIY stuff. So building tools and materials, plumbing, plastering, rendering, level, you know, all that sort of stuff, scaffolding, mixer, plate compactor, all the stuff that really doesn't need to be in a woodworking shop is down there. Now between the two, there's a bit of space where all the offcuts of panels are. What I'm thinking is a sort of 8x4 sized store, waist high, that I can put in all materials. So it might not be super dry, it'll be well ventilated and dry, but it won't be a heated space. So it'll be fine for storing materials, but then I'll bring them in here before I use them. So I just think that might be a good option and take the pressure off in here. But for the time being, I've just put a couple of brackets either side. All this is just trim and offcuts and a few other project bits for in the house, but I can relocate that. A couple of boards and things I've got ideas for, which I want to stay in here and nice and dry. Trim in a bin for now, but we're not going to need this doorway anytime soon. So I think I'll either make a cart, which all of the sheet material and stuff can sit on and I can wheel it away, or I might just run brackets either side and use that as like a timber area. And then for now, the final area in this workshop is the power tool slash battery area. So I have managed to put in the old bookshelf that I made at school. That's been trimmed a little bit, fits in there. So the idea here is all the batteries, charging stuff, camera stuff above, batteries below, spare batteries going to go there, and then this will be kind of tool wall. Now, as you know, I don't have any favourite flavour of tool at the moment, at least, which is why nothing's going to match, but that's fine. I just get a tool for the project that I need to get done. So I'm not too loyal. I tend to use Bosch for a lot of the battery stuff, but that said, I've got everything from budget stuff through to secondhand Festool and bigger bits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run shelves between said posts and run that all the way up. So rather than doing a like pegboard type thing or a French cleat thing, I think I'm just going to go straight forward, shelves every sort of 300, so maybe 3 or 4 shelves, and then on those shelves I can divide it or put extra brackets and bits and bobs for tools, but we'll stick them all on there. And then above that, what I'm thinking, this will be gone, above here I'm just going to put another bit of plywood panel, which I can just bang screws in wherever I need to, and up here I'm going to hang all the accessories for those power tools. So I mean, just everything from guides and fences for all the saws and the planers and all the stuff that comes in the box. So there we go, it's slowly beginning to feel a little bit smaller in here, but I'm still liking the feel, bright, light, not too shed-like, and the floor's okay. The floor's getting scraped and marked just from dragging stuff all over the place, but that was to be expected, and I'm not too precious about anything. It's practical and it's not going to blow away. The other thing that when I was ripping down the plywood last night, loving this, the overhead power is a bit of a game changer when using the track saw, because it's one less thing to catch. That said, the next thing will be to run the extraction across, and then we really will be more efficient. Now, the way I'm going to work the bench in the middle, I will come to in a future video, but I'll be using the Borer centipede, which I got a few months back, and I've used it a handful of times. It's one reason why I really wanted a flat floor in here, but we'll touch on that in a future video. This wall here, I have no idea how I'm going to deal with it. I think this is where most of the things are going to be on casters. So the bandsaw, I need to work out where it's going to be. It was going to be kind of where it is, a little bit to the right, but it's the first horizontal surface you hit when you come in the room. That's a bad thing, because this happens, and that's a good day. So what I need to do is work out where that's going to be. But the planer and the sharpening stuff and the sanding station and the dinky little bandsaw and drill over there, they can almost be on a shelf below and pull up when I need them. They're not too heavy. So maybe a couple of cabinets on casters that I can move in and out, especially the planer because that is a heavy one. Anyway, if you want to follow along in a little bit more detail and more updates, you can head over to Instagram, follow us there, and also on our Facebook page. But that's it. Thank you for watching. Remember, if you can, do it yourself, and we'll see you next time.